Very pleased to be here on My Magical Thing with Anwen Burrows, magical practitioner, Discordian, witch, celebrant, druid, proprietor of Airy Fairy, the occult supply store in Sheffield, England. Anwen, it's lovely to have you here.
Oh, delighted to be here too, Julian.
Well, Anwen, please may we see your magical thing?
Well, I'm sat in my magical thing. This is my garden stretching out behind me at Airy Fairy, and it's Sacred Grove, Owen Woodland. So yes, I've grown over 24 years in Owen Woodland.
Tell us more. What is this Owen Woodland of which you speak?
Okay,
people who might not know.
Yeah, well, the Owen is a native Celtic tree divination system. So the language of trees, and using they have symbols as well. Each tree has specific meaning to that you can relate to life and our journey through it. It kind of came about when I opened in 1999. I wanted to get some protection for my shop, and my witchy friend, Frances Clark Rowland, who sadly died a few years ago, suggested that I get a Rowan tree and do some spells with it and plant it alongside my spell, which I did in a pot. So the very first tree was a Rowan. Which is now, I'll send you some photos rather than tour the garden. The Rowan is planted at the back of the garden. It was just a whip when I bought it, perhaps £7 from B&Q. And it's now magnificent, probably 20 feet tall. So that's kind of how it started. I didn't set out to grow an Owen Woodland. It just started happening as my magical journey came about through the shop and through my practices. I just had this draw to reclaim the land. It was derelict land outside the back of my shop. There was 13 self-seeded sycamores. There was one goat willow in the middle, which is still here. I did get rid of the sycamores because we're just quite a small area in the middle of a lot of houses, and they were very problematic to the houses, having 40-foot sycamores just lurking in somebody's backyard. So as I took those down, I thought I really need to replace these. I can't just take trees out of the environment and not put trees back. So my idea was to put smaller trees into the ground and bigger trees into pots to, keep them contained a bit. Nobody wants a sycamore to be replaced by a, 50-foot pine tree, do they? So, so I've planted, complementary to my neighbours' needs as well as what I wanted to create.
Anwen, that's fantastic. I think we can see a Rowan Tree, mountain ash there in the background.
Yeah, that's not the one. That's a little one. Now this one actually has a little story. Would you like the story?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So my beautiful black cat Magenta, who was a true familiar, and she had so many friends. When she died around 2004, we had a funeral for her here in the garden at Airy Fairy, and quite a few people came, and I buried her in this lovely pot. I can just try and angle that down. Beautiful pot there. And I bought a beautiful magenta Acer to go on top, which promptly got eaten by loads of beetles about a year later, which was really sad. But to be fair, it wasn't part of the Owen system, so it feels like nature is going, that's not what's going to happen here. And then this Rowan self-seeded. I presume a bird perhaps ate one of my berries from over there and popped it over here in this pot. I've had no other Rowans self-seed at all anywhere in the garden except this pot. and then it started to grow. And then I popped clematis in it, which is growing up it, which you might be able to see the big purple saucer flowers there. So yeah, so that's kind of turned into my willow. Sorry, Willow. That's my daughter's name. Getting my cat and my daughter mixed up. My cat Magenta is there with this Rowan that's been brought by the goddess.
Fantastic, fantastic. So we've got the transformation of Magenta into the Rowan Tree, and we've got so just a few of the other kind of trees that you've got in that garden, just for people who are perhaps unfamiliar with the oh, there you are again.
Sorry, yeah, just popped off.
It's live broadcast from outside. So which other trees have we got in the Owen? You'll have to remind me of some of them. So
okay, so we've also got a hazel. We've got two hazels actually, a straight one and a twisted one. We have a holly, we've got yew, we have an oak. We have an interesting oak story, if you'd like the oak story, how the oak came along. So this was very early on, while the original Rowan was still in a pot, but it had grown a little bit, a couple of years into the business. And one of the artists who had work in Airy Fairy sadly died, and I went to his funeral. And on the way back, I was walking back. It's quite woody, it's very, very green in Sheffield, so you pretty much can't walk anywhere without walking through some trees. On my way back, I found this acorn, and I picked it up and popped it in my pocket. And when I got back, I thought, okay, well, we'll see if you grow. And I popped it in the pot, and the next year up popped this little oak tree. At the very side, I'd only popped it down the side, so that grew a little bit. I mean, it was still quite tiny when I planted it out. So I planted it out when we planted the Rowan, and I thought I shouldn't really plant. It's quite a big tree to plant in the ground, but I thought I'll keep it topped off and encourage it to grow out. And so that sort of grew from that moment. It's, I suppose, you wouldn't necessarily associate oak with death as such, but we do kind of associate it with life and the length of life. And I like to think that I suppose we're all in some way eternal, so long as we're in somebody's mind and people are thinking of us. So the fact that tree represents a certain day, and the funeral, passing of somebody, then that has special meaning for me.
Anwen, that's lovely. Thank you very much for telling those tales of transformation, and for cultivating that land, and for bringing the Owen into a living presence there at Airy Fairy in Sheffield. So Anwen Burrows, thank you so much for sharing your magical thing with us. It's really appreciated.
Oh, no worries. Thanks a lot then, Julian. Bye-bye.
All right. Cheerio. Bye-bye.